soundtrack. Origin, the movie, is coming one day. I'm not lying. I swear, we're still making this movie. I'm learning about how to have music in the background and like keep people like being able to hear me. Sometimes my music is a little loud. Process. Okay. Making a film is a process, and some processes are better than others. And if I had to go back, I'd completely do this differently. But however, this was the first time that I ever actually wrote a screenplay. All my other stuff was before. Actually, I got a writer before to write the dialogue for Symphony of the Fallen. His name was Matt Hubbard, and he wrote the dialogue for Symphony of the Fallen. But we had already had the film. We were already planning to shoot before he came in, but I needed somebody to write dialogue because I never wrote dialogue before. So this was a challenge because I had to write dialogue and I had to come up with story and dialogue and all this kind of stuff like that. So originally I wrote the film as a novel. Not really a novel, let me say in a novel form where John said and says Lenny, it's kind of like that. And it was cheesy dialogue, and even the film has some cheesy dialogue, but that's besides the point. So it was a challenge, and I ended up calling one of my friends when I got stuck. I basically wrote the film as this big thing, and then I split it up into 3 short films, and then I reassembled it back together into one big film, and then I called my friend Josh, who helped me to actually write it into proper screenplay format, because this is my first time, so I was just like breaking every single rule you could think of. I got some screenplay writing books that helped me out a lot, and I would really suggest for anyone who wants to start into this, write all your ideas down, but really learn the format and why, because there's a reason why. And when you get on set, it becomes really apparent why, why you need this written out this way, and not trying to like write a novel and then go shoot it. Like, don't do that. So definitely study. There's some good books out there. The staple one is the Sid Field book. I don't have the name of it right in front of me right now, but it's the one that everyone uses. So check that out, and read some stuff about writing screenplays. There's some good screenplay writing software that can make your process faster. I use Final Draft Pro. There's Screenwriter 2000, Script Thing. There's a bunch of them. So writing the screenplay was definitely first, and so I wrote it as novel, then went to screenplay. Then after we got the screenplay finished, we hired a bunch of storyboard artists. Hired is probably the wrong word, because we haven't paid anybody, and this is like a non-paid project. And but we basically got a whole bunch of art students from the Academy of Art that was the school I went to and dropped out of. We storyboarded for like weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, and we basically drew the whole film. So my producer Takeshi had the whole film on his wall, and it was amazing to see the whole film. Like, it was just outside of my head, outside of just a piece of paper, and it was on a drawing. And those storyboards were really good storyboards. Even still, they're still great reference and going back. And we have some comparisons of the film, like what we shot, to the storyboards, and some of it's dead on, some of it's not, because of course your ideas in your head work better than they do when the actual practicality of it, and that's where having a good DP and all that stuff comes in, and that's director of photography, guys. So that process, I think that we did correctly. However, I did start doing the martial arts first. I also forgot about that. Before I even had the story down and all that kind of stuff like that, I started training people right away. Because in Symphony of the Fallen, it took me about 6 months to choreograph the fight scene. and I wanted to do something bigger. I wanted to have lots more fighting, more people. You know, I've never orchestrated something this big in my life. It was just like I wanted to challenge everything that I could possibly do. So I was already training people, which was good because I had footage of us training, which got people excited about this film. They were like, "Oh wow, you guys are doing all that? Oh wow, look at all these martial arts. This is crazy. You guys are nuts." And so that was a good thing. It got me. It got people excited about the film, so it was easy to recruit people and get them, you know, behind the film because they saw I was crazy and I was going to do it, so they wanted to be a part of whatever that crazy madness was. So yeah, then you know after storyboarding, we started to get basically assemble a team together, and this is I'm actually giving you the linear way that I would do it in now. There's some indiscrepancies here and there, but yeah, assembling a team was difficult because a lot of people thought that I shouldn't do this film, and they thought that it was too much, you know, to start with. And I was really naive. I thought that I'd be able to knock this film out in a month, maybe, if I shot every weekend. But that's absolutely impossible and absolutely insane. If I had a budget, then maybe, you know, we can do all that. But most films don't get shot in that short amount of time. With the what I was trying to do in this film, anyway. We recruited a CG team and got a DP, Pete from Vision Smith. If you go to visionsmith.com, he was my DP on the film. And Pete had, you know, a lot of experience, and we met during working on it with another film group. A lot of people from Apple and Industrial Light and Magic, and a lot of companies we worked with. They basically, we all hung out, had ideas, and we started making these short films. So then it was time for me to make my big magnum opus, which is Origin, and wanted to put everything into it. And we shot for, it's been a couple of years now. And shooting took a long time, and it was grueling. And after we finished shooting, we went into post, and I went through a lot of different editors, potential editors. I had one of my old friends who I wanted to edit it. That didn't seem to work out. Found another guy. That didn't seem to work out. And so it all came back to me. And it didn't work out not because I'm like some hard dude to work with. People just didn't necessarily want to put in the necessary time, or they didn't necessarily have the inspiration that they needed. And so I can't motivate somebody in order to like see what I'm talking about. It's either you're motivated or you're not. And so I'm not going to waste time. So a lot of this stuff kept coming back to me. Even writing the original screenplay, it's like I couldn't get anybody to write my story for me. I didn't want to write it, and I had to write it. You know, I got help after I wrote it, and that's kind of how it works. It's like people will help you after you do something. It's like after I got my kung fu team together, then people were down to help. And so that's kind of one of the lessons I have to say for anyone who wants to do something independently is like you got to get other people behind it by seeing what you're doing. So no one's going to move unless you move. And that's just how it is. You know, there's more. I'll keep talking about it. Ask me questions, please. And keep me going. Cheer me on. Yeah. I need that. And that's part of the reason why I'm doing this blog. I'm asking for the collective energy of all the film fans, filmmakers to keep me going. If you want to know anything about the film, I'll tell you everything that's not top secret. All right. Well, make good films. Bye.